This episode of Derby Profile was suggested by Uncle Blakey0777. Another day, another Derby Profile. Today's episode is on Midnight Bisou's younger half-brother verifying. Let's go. First things first, we got the stats. 6 starts, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, no thirds, and earnings of $489,900. For major races, he has quite a few, starting with a second in the Champagne Stakes, a disappointing sixth in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, a fourth in the Rebel, but then finally, everything came together with a valiant second place finish behind Tapitrice in the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. For highest speed figure, it was, unsurprisingly, in that Toyota Bluegrass Stakes, with a 99 speed figure being one of the top speed figures according to the DRF for all Derby contenders. So despite being second, he is much faster than most other Derby horses in this field. For running style, verifying is a stalker, but he's a specific type of stalker, right behind the leaders. Now you might say, well, isn't that just every single stalker there is? Well, kind of. Some stalkers like at least a couple of horses ahead of them, maybe resting in 4th or 5th place, but verifying likes to have usually only one horse ahead of him at best, waiting for that one leader to give way, and then he takes over. It's not really a case of, say, Jace's Road or Reincarnate, where it's very clear that they do their best running, going gate to wire, but instead, this seems to be verifying's preferred strategy, running his best races with 1 or 2 horses ahead of him, he picks them off, and then he goes for broke in the top of the stretch. For strengths, verifying's biggest ones are just how much he has improved as a 3-year-old in comparison to his 2-year-old year, and just how gutsy he is. His battle with Tapitrice proved just how much of a fighter he can be, even in defeat. Also, he has more speed than the average Derby horse. While he's not as fast early as, say, Jace's Road or Reincarnate, he can rest right behind the leaders, which is a pretty nice trait to have. He can get himself right behind the 2 front runners and just lie in wait and find himself in good position for the Kentucky Derby. That kind of early speed will be very helpful when there's not a lot of pace. For weaknesses, there are a couple when it comes to verifying, but the big difference is that with him, they are not as pronounced as some other contenders. For example, he doesn't run his best on muddy tracks, but he still is able to get a grade 1 placing in the Champagne Stakes, albeit pretty distantly beat. And in the Rebel Stakes, he finished an okay 4th. However, I will say this, Reincarnate found just as much trouble as Verifying did, and he was able to finish much stronger. So, when things go wrong, Verifying is definitely not at his best. And I know that's like, well, of course, Sherlock, when things don't go your way, you're not at your best. But sometimes, when horses face trouble, they come out of it tougher than ever. That is why Forte is such a strong favorite, because he had every excuse to lose the Florida Derby. However, he overcame everything and still won. And lastly, the Bluegrass Stakes, despite how much of a credible race it really was, he had everything go his way. He didn't have any sort of trouble to worry about, and yet he still got edged, which indicates that even at his best, he might be just a cut below the top tier. Overall, I would say that Verifying is best summarized as a very high B-tier horse. Very strong and can go toe-to-toe with the toughest of Kentucky Derby contenders, but might just be edged out when push comes to shove. And with that, I give him, well, I kinda already spoiled it, a B+ grade. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Derby Profile, and I'll see you guys next time.